Okay, we're going to take our front brake and install it. This is a hydraulic Shimano brake. We're going to take out the red piece, which you must keep, so that if you ever pack or you ever go anywhere and take that front wheel off, you need to insert this back in. It prevents the piston from cracking and doing any damage to this caliper. Pull that out, put that aside. Now we have 2 bolts that are equipped with this particular brake in the package. You're going to take this adapter piece and you're going to slide the pads over the rotor. This requires 2 washers. After inserting your washers, you got a nice clean line. There's 2 little screws on the back side of this where you're going to want to loosen up. When you loosen those up, what we're going to do, and the nice thing about a hydraulic brake is the fact that you can pull the lever tight with these 2 screws loose. Grab those tight. Tighten those up. And we have smoothness. And your hydraulic brake is now attached. What we want to do here, as I said in the beginning of our assembly, is to tighten up the side bolts on this stem. Do that at this time, and then we're going to install our rear brake. Your cables on the front fork should be zip tied, so let's just put a few on there. Start down from the bottom of the caliper, run it right underneath the tab. Being that we're using a hydraulic brake, line that brake caliper, brake hose on the back side and put your zip tie right underneath your tab. It gives a nice flow to that cable, and then insert 1 more on the top of the fork so it doesn't move out of place. Flip the excess off with your wire clippers. Okay, we're going to install our rear hydraulic brake. This brake line is going to run over the top tube down the rear seat stays. And this particular caliper, we have another red piece here. You're going to save these pieces like I told you before, so when you do any packing. Rear wheel, usually when you pack a bike, usually stays on the bike, but it's always good to have an extra. This particular one is going to require 1 spacer that I've determined, and we're going to slide this over the rotor, like so. Line up your other. There you go. Tighten those up. Nice and snug. Don't ever over tighten. And don't be concerned with using a torque wrench. Just snug it up. We're going to squeeze our lever with these 2 screws loosened, and then we're going to tighten that up in place. All right. You're going to feel a little bit because the hydraulic fluid is going to have to settle through the line. It's a very long line, and at that point they break in. One very important feature of the Fat Sand bike is the offsetted wheel on the rear. The reason for an offset wheel is so that we get a proper chain line. If you notice, when this wheel is installed, at this point the rear cog must line up with the front chain ring. If that's the case, your wheel will look like it's rubbing on the left hand side or the non-drive side of the bike. This is a proper chain line. This wheel was built so that it was offset, so that we have a proper chain line and we could run very smoothly. This is one of the designs that Tommy C had established when creating this bike to allow the drivetrain to ride smoothly and allow you to use a double chain ring in the front. We're going to put on our saddle. Also, we're going to take our cable ties and align the rear hydraulic line, and then we're ready to ride.